Okay, so I've had a few people ask some questions about the literature review, and so I wanted to give just a sort of a video to kind of try to answer them a little bit better than I can just typing or putting something on the discussion boards. Okay, so the first question I had was, how many sources do I need? And that's a really, really good question, and it's not an answer that I have just sort of a solid number for everyone, because it'll be different for everyone depending on the topic they choose. But a good rule of thumb is that by the end of the paper, you'll have about at least 20 sources. That doesn't mean they're all 20 articles. They might be government Census Bureau pages where you've gotten statistics about your population. They may be a statistics book or a methods book that you're using to provide a rationale for the methodological approach that you're taking. There might be a book that you're using to cite the theory that you'll include in your literature review. So about 20 sources, give or take a few, by the time you're finished with the whole paper. So for your lit review, realistically, you'll probably have between 10 and 15. If you have fewer than that, you're probably not doing a very comprehensive literature review. So hopefully that helps you a little bit with that part. Now, I've also had some questions about the research question. How do you develop the research question? And that's also a really, really good question. We're so early in the semester, although it's already a midterm, I can't believe it. But we are so early, sort of, I feel like, in the semester that it's hard for you to know yet exactly what it is you're going to ask. So I want you to think in terms of maybe a wider topic, and then let me help you, when I give you your feedback, help you narrow that down a little bit if you need to. A research question that is testable for a quantitative research proposal will be very, very specific. So, for example, it might be, how does the administration of art therapy impact children's depressive tendencies as measured by the blah, blah, blah depression index or something like that, right? So it's very, very specific. You can tell exactly what somebody's going to do and measure and what variables are going to go into that statistical test by the question. What is the relationship between aversion therapy and I'm using aversion therapy because I'm averse to snakes. My dog was bitten by a copperhead over the weekend, and so that's very much in my mind, being avoiding them and being aversive to the snakes that are in our yard. So let me think of a different one, because that's probably not a good one. How does education about snakes, does receiving education about snakes increase or decrease a person's fear of snakes? Right? Okay, so that might be a research question. But your research question that you test for a quantitative proposal is going to be really, really specific. And you may not be quite there yet, because you might still have a little bit more to do in the course learning about things before you're really ready to come up with something really super specific. So just do the best you can with your question, and then let me give you some feedback when I evaluate your lit review. Because what's going to happen is you're going to turn in these literature reviews, and I'm going to grade all of them. I'm going to give every single person, I'm going to open it up in Word and use the edit function and type all over your papers. So you'll get some feedback about what to change, what to correct, maybe how to reword your questions. I might even put in there like, hey, maybe we should talk so that I can get a better idea of what it is you're trying to study, so I can help you with your question. This is worth a grade, but it's sort of what you need to consider your first attempt at the assignment. And then when you turn in your whole mini proposal at the end of the semester, you're going to turn that in with the feedback. You'll have employed the feedback that I've given you on each of these sections throughout the semester. So hopefully you'll feel real confident when it's time to turn that in. So those are some of the questions I've had, the research question piece and the number of sources. I will give you just a little bit of guidance on writing the lit review. I know I gave you some in another video, but just to reiterate it, it's not supposed to read like a series of summaries. It's not supposed to be like a paragraph about a study and the next paragraph's about a different study and the next paragraph's about a different study. You really are supposed to be integrating and synthesizing all the information that you have read about your topic. You should also be including some theoretical perspective in there that will guide your work. So that's another source, and that'll take up about half a page to a page and a half if you're worried about how to fill your pages. But really think about how that theory is going to guide the work that you do. How does the literature that you're citing relate to the theory? How do each of the studies relate to each other? Does this new one confirm what somebody else has already concluded, or does it contradict them? And if so, why do you think that there's contradictions? What do you think the contradictory findings are about? And you're sort of making sense of the literature for your reader. The literature review provides your reader with the state of knowledge about your topic up to that point. It should have the major players in your research area cited, and it should show that you have done a comprehensive look at the literature and that you've chosen these particular articles based on their credibility or what have you. So I hope that helps you a little bit. I'm sorry I can't give, it's like sort of I made a whole video to give you a non-answer. The number of sources kind of depends. Shoot for having 20 total by the end of the paper, by the end of the proposal. Granted, most of those are in the lit review. So probably about between 10 and 15 will be in the literature review, if not more. And then you'll have maybe 3 to 5 more in the other sections of the paper. So shoot for that in terms of the number of sources that you have. Remember to include your theoretical perspective. Remember, it's an integration and a synthesis of your findings. It should lead us, you should be identifying gaps in the knowledge that we have. And those gaps that you identify, those areas of, but we still don't know this, should lead very, very logically to your research question. So that should help you a little bit in terms of how to write the research question. But like I said on that part, just do the best you can and let me give you feedback. And then we can talk more if we need to after that feedback, if you need more clarification, or I might need more clarification. So I hope that helps. My video of non-answers, I hope, is helpful. Just ask questions if you need to. Put them on the Q&A board, or feel free to email me, and we'll make sure that we get you to where you can understand. Have a great day.